This is the story of Zeno, limited to Zeno's life and concepts only. Review and analyze this as a philosophy professor, a student, a Stoic scholar, a practicing Stoic, a writer, an editor, someone who is not interested in Stoicism, and a psychologist. What do you think? Zeno the Man, a story about his life, teachings, and his death. It's important to acknowledge that reconstructing Zeno's life and philosophy is a challenge, as these accounts are often incomplete and filtered through later perspectives. What is certain, Zeno lost his life as he knew it and arrived in Athens around 312 BCE, damp, wind-bitten, and alone. Throughout this story, we pause for small snapshots of daily life in ancient Athens. Not exact records, but windows that help you feel the world. Zeno walked through streets alive with music from lyres, bronze bowls echoing coins, children darting between columns. All of it helps us understand how philosophy lived among the people. The shipwreck and the turning. An old story tells of Zeno surviving a storm so fierce it felt like the sky argued with the sea. Merchants shouted, wood cracked, cargo vanished beneath roaring waves. Did it happen exactly this way? Perhaps not. Diogenes Laertius preserves rumor, admiration, and memory. He steps into a bookseller's shop. Warm lamps. Dust floats like gold. He lifts Xenophon's memorabilia. Socrates' voice settles in his chest like a stone dropped into still water. Virtue whispered before philosophy took form. The bookseller points. See him. He lives what he teaches. Crates, the cynic. Sometimes life doesn't unravel quietly. Sometimes the sea makes the decision for you. Around 312 BCE, Zeno reached Athens after a major personal loss. Loss redraws the lines of your life, and philosophy teaches you to walk them steadily. If the beginning feels familiar, hold that moment close. Does it remind you of someone? Is this worth sharing? Maybe tonight, this story finds its way through you. Athens, Citium, and the world he entered. Zeno was born in Citium, a port city where Phoenician and Greek cultures met like morning tides. Athens called next, offering a different fire. The grand days of Pericles had dimmed, Macedonian oversight hummed under marketplace cries, but the city still breathed ideas. Philosophers paced as if thinking were a sport. Fountains gurgled beneath statues. Merchants bargained over figs and olives. Actors rehearsed behind painted backdrops. Students debated geometry. Soldiers watched garrisons. Life stacked together. Around 312 to 305 BCE, Zeno absorbed the life of Athens. Understanding the world around you helps you understand your place in it. Which place shaped you more, the one you left or the one that called you forward? Your birthplace whispers. Your chosen place teaches you how to answer. Philosophy matters because knowing your world helps you act wisely.
The teachers who forged him. Zeno built his philosophy the way a seasoned craftsman builds a ship. Plank by plank, teacher by teacher, wound by wound. Crates the cynic struck first, a wiry man who lived virtue like a vow. He taught Zeno honesty above reputation, character above comfort. Cynicism was raw fire. Stoicism would later tame that fire and give it direction. Next came the Megarians, sharpening logic like soldiers sharpening blades. Stoics learned from them, but steered logic toward action. Impressions tested for truth, not puzzles for puzzle's sake. Academic Platonists taught humility. The Peripatetics offered structure, believing everything has a reason, even if hidden. One story says Zeno once hid at the back of a lecture. The teacher called out, "Come forward. Wisdom does not chase those who run from it." And so he walked to the front. A small moment that taught a lifetime of courage. Around 305 to 300 BCE, Zeno studied under several schools. The people we let into our lives shape our inner architecture. Some appear when we are ready. Which teacher changed you unexpectedly? Influences are clay. What we shape from them becomes our true name. The Stoic triad of logic, physics, and ethics. People today shrink Stoicism into a simple rule: stay calm. Yet Zeno offered a comprehensive framework. We do not have his books. What we know comes from later writers. The triad of logic, physics, and ethics formed the foundation. Each part has distinct, yet together, a complete system for living wisely. Logic is the study of reasoning and thought. It's the tool for understanding the world correctly, distinguishing true impressions from false ones. Logic helps prevent errors in judgment and keeps the mind disciplined. For example, noticing someone frowns and not immediately assuming they're angry with you. To practice this, try keeping a journal where you analyze your reactions to events, identifying any logical fallacies or biases that might be influencing your thinking. Physics. For Zeno, based on accounts from later writers, this wasn't just about the physical world. It was about understanding the fundamental nature of reality. He believed the cosmos was a rationally ordered whole, a single living entity governed by logos, a principle of reason inherent in all things. While the specifics of his cosmology are debated, it's thought that Zeno saw pneuma, a kind of cosmic breath or vital force, as the unifying element connecting everything. This led to the concept of sympatia, the interconnectedness of all things within the universe. For Zeno, understanding this natural order was crucial for ethical living. By recognizing our place within the cosmos, we could learn to live in accordance with nature and accept what is beyond our control. Ethics is the study of how to live well. It's focused on virtue as the only true good. Wealth, pleasure, or reputation are secondary. They are preferred but not essential. Ethics guides behavior in accordance with reason and nature, teaching self-control, courage, justice, and wisdom. In short, logic trains the mind, physics orients the soul to the world, ethics directs action in harmony with reason and virtue. This triad is what makes Stoicism not just a philosophy to think about, but a way of life. Logic steadies the mind. It teaches you to test impressions before they become judgments. A friend frowns. You pause. You check the facts. Physics steadies your perspective. The Stoics believed everything that exists is physical. The human soul, the gods, the stars, all bound together by pneuma, the vital breath that holds the cosmos in a single living body. The universe moves with rational order. Nothing stands alone. Ethics steadies your life. Virtue is the only true good because it is the only thing you can always choose. Wealth, fame, pleasure, all of them come and go like the weather. Your character remains. Around 300 to 295 before the Common Era, Zeno shapes early Stoicism. Aligning your choices with reality creates a life that does not crumble at the first storm. Logic steadies the mind. Physics steadies the world. Ethics steadies the heart. When life hits hard, which part of you collapses first? Your thinking, your sense of order, or your values? The Stoic triad is not abstract. It is a daily map for clear choices. If this section clarified something for you, let it settle. A thought that steadies you today might save you tomorrow.
Assent, the quiet choice that changes a day. Life throws impressions at you. Most are wrong. Zeno called the conscious act of agreeing or rejecting an impression assent. That tiny breath between seeing and believing defines whether a thought becomes judgment. A practical exercise. Notice negative impressions. Pause, breathe, and ask, is this true? What's the evidence? A student in the agora hears laughter. Stoic reasoning. Maybe a dropped coin caused it.
not mockery. Early in the 3rd century BCE, Zeno taught this discipline. Thoughts knock on your door, you decide who enters. Oikeiosis, the circle that widens. Oikeiosis is recognizing and expanding our connection to the world. Life begins with self-preservation, then grows to family, community, humanity. Stoics refined social ethics 295 to 280 BCE. We are built for widening circles. Where did yours stop today? A small act of care ripples farther than you think. The Stoa and the city. Philosophy with dust on its feet. Zeno of Citium. The teacher and his tribe. In the heart of Athens, under the bright glare of the Mediterranean sun, a man walked calmly through the painted porch. He was not tall, his frame slight, shoulders hunched just enough to suggest concentration over show. His robe was simple, threads slightly worn, his sandals dusted from the stony streets. His hair, dark and curling, caught flecks of sunlight, his eyes alert but gentle, as if weighing the world in each glance. This was Zeno. He did not command attention by voice or gesture. Instead, he drew it with presence, the kind that made even the busiest merchant pause mid-sale, the young student mid-step, just to catch the quiet certainty of someone fully engaged in living what he taught. His demeanor was patient, never hurried. A furrowed brow was not irritation, but thought. A small smile was not amusement, but recognition of virtue in action. Around him students gathered, some shy and hesitant, others brash and questioning. There was Cleanthes, loyal to the core, always following his teacher's lead with quiet admiration. Chrysippus, sharp and restless, eager to push boundaries, challenge definitions, probe deeper into the mechanics of the cosmos and human nature. There were women and men of all ages who came from different corners of the Hellenistic world, drawn not just by philosophy, but by the way Zeno carried it like an invisible current that moved through ordinary life. Zeno's teaching style was different from the loud academies of Athens. There were no grand proclamations, no harsh public corrections. He spoke in measured words, using examples drawn from daily life. An archer adjusting his aim, a dog pulled by a cart, a student watching the wind toss a ship's sail. He walked among the students as they debated, letting questions settle before guiding them with gentle precision. He would say, "Notice what is yours to command, and leave the rest to the cosmos." He adored curiosity and humility. Students who quietly observed first, then stepped forward were rewarded not with praise, but with recognition in small gestures. A nod, a raised eyebrow, a story told to illustrate a point. Those who challenged him, like Chrysippus in the early days, found their arguments met with patience and structured reasoning, not ridicule. Through these challenges, Zeno's teaching grew stronger, and so did theirs. Some students adored him openly. Cleanthes carried his torch literally and metaphorically, composing hymns to the sun as a daily exercise in virtue. Others lingered silently, scribbling notes, sketching ideas. Yet their admiration was evident in the way they mirrored his calm demeanor and meticulous observation. Even critics could not ignore him. Merchants, rhetoricians, and rival philosophers would pause and remark on the quiet power of this man who moved philosophy from parchment into the streets, from abstract thought into lived reality. The relationship between Zeno and his students was not one of hierarchy alone, but of shared journey. He expected dedication, but gave guidance. He encouraged questioning, but demanded reason. The students were mirrors and apprentices, each reflecting aspects of virtue and logic in their own lives, yet all shaped by his unspoken standard. integrity in thought, alignment in action. As the sun sank behind the Acropolis, the painted porch buzzed quietly. Laughter, debate, the scratch of styluses against wax tablets, the clatter of sandals on stone, all carried the rhythm of a philosophy in motion. And at the center, unassuming yet present, Zeno moved among them, teaching not just words but the steadiness of living with purpose, the discipline of thought, and the quiet courage of the soul. In this space, every student learned not only Stoic principles, but the art of observing, reflecting, and acting with virtue. And in the centuries that followed, when his teachings traveled from Creanthes to Chrysippus to Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, the story remained the same. A man of small frame and vast mind, whose presence alone taught more than any lecture, whose calm and careful guidance molded generations, and whose students carried his philosophy into the world, living proof of the man who walked Athens not as a master of words, but as a master of life.
Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, introduced the concept of cosmopolitanism as a radical shift from traditional Greek thought. It emphasized that all human beings share a common reason and are subject to the same divine logos, making them citizens of the world rather than of a particular city-state. This idea broke through the Greek assumption of their own superiority over barbarians. Implications of cosmopolitanism for Zeno: equality and respect. Cosmopolitanism implies that every individual, regardless of their origin or status, is entitled to equal respect and consideration. Story illustrating Stoic cosmopolitanism. Setting the scene, imagine a bustling marketplace in ancient Athens. Zeno, a merchant who became a philosopher, is surrounded by people from different lands, each with their own customs and beliefs. A dispute arises between a Greek citizen and a foreign merchant over a transaction. The Greek, invoking local laws and customs, demands preferential treatment. Zeno's intervention. Zeno steps in, reminding everyone that while laws and customs may differ, all individuals are part of a larger human community. He emphasizes that reason and virtue should guide their actions, not narrow-minded self-interest or prejudice. We are all citizens of the cosmos, Zeno declares. The universe is our city, and reason is our law. Let us treat each other with fairness and respect, recognizing our shared humanity. Inspired by Zeno's words, the Greek citizen reconsiders his position and agrees to a fair resolution. The foreign merchant, in turn, expresses gratitude for being treated with dignity and respect. This story illustrates the Stoic concept of cosmopolitanism by showing how individuals can overcome cultural and social barriers to recognize their shared humanity and act in accordance with reason and virtue. It highlights the implication that true citizenship lies not in belonging to a particular city-state, but in being a responsible and compassionate member of the global community. Global community. It suggests the need to recognize and act on one's membership in a global community of human beings, with responsibilities extending to all members of that community. Rejection of traditional distinctions. Zeno's cosmopolitanism rejects the traditional distinctions between Greeks and barbarians, citizens and foreigners, and even men and women, advocating for a society where all are considered fellow citizens with equal rights. Living according to nature. In Zeno's view, a cosmopolitan life means living according to nature and rationality, recognizing the universe as our home, and acting in accordance with the common good. Influence on social and political structures. Zeno's concept of cosmopolitanism influenced social and political structures by promoting the idea of a society without distinct laws or cities, where people live together, observing one manner of living and order. The archer focuses on the aim, not the wind. The dog tied to the cart. Move with the universe or be dragged. The actors do not choose the role, only the performance. Around 300 before the Common Era, Zeno built a community of students. We cannot command the world, but we can command our choices. We learn philosophy where we stand, not in a quiet room.
Explore how Zeno's teachings apply
Which
today.
part of your life
Professor,
are you
what do think
resisting
about the role
instead of
logic in
working
modern
on?
life attends?
Philosophy is not a theory, it is a daily practice. Look at your day. Where are you dragging your heels? Where can you move with the cart instead? Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, distinguished himself from other philosophers through his unique blend of Cynic influences, emphasis on virtue, and integration of logic, physics, and ethics into a cohesive philosophical system. Relationship to Cynicism. Zeno was initially influenced by Cynic philosophers, particularly Crates of Thebes, adopting their emphasis on virtue and simple living. However, Zeno sought a middle ground between the Cynics' rejection of society and the later Stoics' focus on duty. Unlike the Cynics, who completely rejected social norms, Zeno believed that morally indifferent things could still have value. Emphasis on virtue. Like Socrates, Zeno emphasized the importance of virtue as the sole good and the foundation for happiness. He believed that external circumstances had no bearing on one's happiness, and true contentment came from cultivating inner virtue and maintaining composure in the face of adversity. This differed from other philosophies that equated happiness with pleasure or external goods. Logic, physics, and ethics. Zeno integrated logic, physics, and ethics into a comprehensive system. Logic provided tools for clear thinking, physics offered insights into the nature of the universe, and ethics guided individuals towards virtuous living by aligning their will with the rational order of the cosmos. This holistic approach distinguished him from philosophers who focused on only one aspect of philosophy: living according to nature. Zeno emphasized living according to nature, which meant understanding one's role in the universe and accepting events beyond one's control with equanimity. This involved aligning one's will with the rational order of the cosmos and recognizing that external circumstances do not affect happiness. Influence of Heraclitus. Zeno's physics and logic were influenced by Heraclitus, who believed that the universe is in a constant state of flux and governed by a divine reason or logos. Zeno adopted this idea and incorporated it into his Stoic philosophy, emphasizing the importance of understanding the laws of nature and living in accordance with them. The death of Zeno, the lesson of endings. Around 262 BCE, Zeno died. Stories say he tripped, broke a toe, smiled at fate, accepted the end without fear. His students carried the philosophy forward: Cleanthes, Chrysippus, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. Endings ask you to begin again. Something in your life is ending, something else is waiting. Which ending in your own life is asking you to begin? Every ending marks a new beginning. The two certain things in life, the beginning and the end. Even when the road breaks, you continue. Hold the ending you fear with quiet hands. Let this story steady you. If someone needs to hear this, share it gently. Maybe this can be a catalyst of new beginnings. 5 notable Zeno quotes. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. The goal of life is living in agreement with nature. Well-being is attained little by little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. Nothing is more hostile to a firm grasp on knowledge than self-deception. Zeno, the man, a recap. This script tells the story of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, tracing his life from a shipwrecked merchant to a respected philosopher in Athens. Shaped by both his birthplace of Citium and the intellectual atmosphere of Athens, Zeno learned from Cynics, Megarians, Platonists, and Peripatetics, ultimately forging his own path. His core teachings revolved around the Stoic triad: logic for clear thinking, physics for understanding the world, and ethics for virtuous action. Assent, the power to choose which thoughts and impressions to accept, controlling our emotions and judgments. Oikeiosis, the natural expansion of care from self to family to community and humanity. Cosmopolitanism, the recognition of shared humanity and the belief that we are all citizens of the world. Zeno emphasized living in accordance with nature, controlling what we can and accepting what we cannot. He taught through example, building a community of students at the Stoa Poikile and inspiring them to live lives of virtue and purpose. His legacy continues to influence individuals seeking resilience, ethical guidance, and inner peace. Remember, this script offers an introduction to Zeno's life and philosophy. However, it's important to acknowledge that reconstructing Zeno's story is challenging. Many details are anecdotal, and definitive proof is difficult to establish, as no complete books from Zeno himself have survived. This account is based on fragments and interpretations from later authors, offering a glimpse into the man and the ideas that shaped Stoicism. Walk your day with quiet courage. Choose your thoughts. Widen your circle. Let the steadiness of Zeno's steps guide yours even through the noise and storms of life. This story isn't just about Zeno. It's about how to live in a world that tosses storms, distractions, and difficult people at you. Here's what I see as the key takeaways. 1. Life shapes philosophy as much as philosophy shapes life. Zeno didn't start as a philosopher in a vacuum. He survived loss, displacement, and the chaos of Athens. His philosophy arose from lived experience. The lesson? Your challenges, losses, and journeys can teach you as much as any book or lecture. Philosophy, or wisdom, isn't abstract. It's forged in life's storms. 2. Virtue is the only true good. Zeno's insistence that character and virtue matter above wealth, pleasure, or reputation is timeless. You can't control external events, but you can control how you act and respond. The takeaway? Focus on what you can govern: your choices, your responses, your integrity. 3. The power of reflection and choice. Assent. Life throws impressions at you. Zeno teaches that pausing before agreeing with them, checking if they're true, changes your entire day. Psychologically, this is profound. You can train your mind to separate reaction from judgment, breaking cycles of stress, anger, or misperception. 4. Connection expands outward. Oikeiosis. We start with ourselves, but our awareness and care can grow to family, community, and the world. Stoic cosmopolitanism isn't just political, it's ethical. Understanding that your actions ripple beyond you. Today's small acts of kindness, fairness, and curiosity matter. 5. Philosophy is practical, not just theoretical. Zeno walked among students, used everyday examples, and integrated philosophy into life. The lesson? Wisdom isn't only in books or debates. It's in your daily routines, decisions, and interactions. 6. Calmness and steadiness aren't passive, they're deliberate. The Stoic triad, logic, physics, and ethics, are a toolkit. Reason steadies thought, understanding steadies perspective, and ethics steadies action. Life will batter you, but training these aspects keeps you upright. 7. Mentors and communities shape us. Zeno learned from Cynics, Megarians, Platonists, and Peripatetics, ultimately forging his own path. Growth often requires learning from others, then refining what resonates. The takeaway? Seek guidance, but craft your own path. 8. Acceptance of the inevitable, death and endings. Zeno's death story, tripping, smiling, accepting fate, is symbolic. Life ends, and so do chapters. Stoicism teaches acceptance without fear. Endings are part of life's rhythm. They're also invitations to begin anew. 9. Ethics and reason unite personal and social life. Zeno's cosmopolitanism shows that virtue isn't just private, it's social. Living wisely means acting justly toward others, recognizing shared humanity, and rejecting prejudice. In short, this story teaches resilience, intentional choice, moral clarity, mindfulness, ethical social engagement, and the courage to live steadily in an unpredictable world. It's a guide not just to philosophy, but to living with dignity, reflection, and purpose.
The full essay analysis of the Zeno story, seen through 8 different eyes, woven into one narrative. This story of Zeno's life feels like watching a quiet fire spread through dry wood. It's gentle at first, but it grows, and before you know it, the whole landscape is glowing with ideas. This does not treat Zeno like a legend carved in marble. This treats him like a man who walked into a bookstore, drenched from the sea, lost everything, and somehow found the beginning of everything. That's the charm of this piece. It brings philosophy down from Olympus and lets it walk barefoot in the marketplace. A philosophy professor watching this would appreciate the careful scaffolding. This keeps the historical uncertainties visible, like threads intentionally left loose, so nothing pretends to be more certain than the sources allow. That honesty earns trust. The professor in me would say, this is how you teach early Stoicism without intimidating people. The student in me feels something different. The story makes Zeno less like a historical figure and more like someone you might bump into after a bad day. Someone who'd say a line so simple and stubbornly true that it changes how you breathe. This makes Zeno approachable, a man with worn sandals, not a sage floating above the crowd. The Stoic scholar in me nods at the triad: logic, physics, ethics. This didn't present them like museum pieces. This made them usable. This connected them to moments you'd actually experience: a frown, a misinterpretation, a storm, a choice. Zeno becomes a craftsman of the mind, not a philosopher preaching from the doorstep of the Stoa Poikile. This shows how Stoicism was born from collision, shipwreck against destiny, cynicism against refinement, logic against chaos. The practicing Stoic in me feels called out, in a good way. This slips in questions like traps. When life hits hard, which part collapses first? There's no escaping that one. It forces a kind of quiet accountability, the kind you feel when someone tells you the truth because they actually care. This reminds the viewers that Stoicism isn't a theory, it's a rehearsal for reality. The writer in me admires the pacing. The details in Athens are not academic, they feel lived in. Coins on bowls, children running between columns, lamps throwing gold dust into the air. This isn't world building for decoration. It's there to remind us that philosophy grew in soil made of everyday life. This is created by someone who respects the past, but doesn't worship it. This brings the viewers close enough to smell the olives and see the dust settling on scrolls. The editor in me would say that the strongest power is atmosphere. This story breathes. The only thing to watch is where information clusters too tightly. This can let certain ideas stretch across scenes instead of appearing all at once. The heart of the piece is human experience, not encyclopedic detail.
The person who doesn't care for Stoicism will still find something here. This doesn't force philosophy. This story wraps it in a narrative. Even someone uninterested in virtue ethics would still feel the poetry in a man losing everything and building a worldview from the ruins. Stoicism becomes less about doctrines and more about grief redirected into purpose. And finally, the psychologist in me sees the subtext. This is a story of trauma, loss, and cognitive reconstruction. Zeno is a man who rebuilds his identity by sorting impressions, redefining control, widening circles of care, and choosing alignment with a meaningful structure. His philosophy is less about detachment and more about healing through clarity. This story shows how Stoicism began as a response to disorientation, not as a cold intellectual exercise. This reminds us that philosophies often start the same way people start over, shaken, humbled, and forced to listen. The story, as it stands, is not simply a historical reconstruction. It's a quiet mirror. Zeno is a container. We pour ourselves in, and somehow he gives us back something clearer. After seeing Zeno through these different eyes, a professor, a student, a Stoic scholar, a practicing Stoic, a writer, an editor, a skeptic, and a psychologist, which perspective resonates most with you? How would viewing life through multiple lenses change the way you interpret stories, make choices, or respond to challenges? Do you seek feedback from others? And how does it shape your thinking and growth? Maybe tonight, as you close your eyes, let Zeno's quiet steps echo through your own. Which choices will you embrace? Which circles will you dare to widen? Life will toss storms, yet the calm you hold is what carries you. Watch your thoughts, honor your path, and perhaps, just perhaps, pass this quiet fire to someone who needs it too.
This story began with questions and ends with multifaceted perception. That arc is deliberate. Philosophy doesn't hand us perfect answers. It invites dialogue. What you've just seen is a work of imaginative reconstruction, a blend of history, anecdote, and storytelling. Some details may be true, some may be guessed, and some may never be verified. That uncertainty is not a flaw. It is the lesson. The quote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say," is attributed to Zeno by some, to Epictetus by others. Notice this tension. Philosophy isn't about accepting claims blindly. It's about noticing contradictions, investigating sources, and testing what resonates with reason. Today, with the noise of the world and the speed of information, this discipline matters more than ever. Anyone can claim truth. Your task is to pause, question, research, and verify. Let curiosity guide you. Let doubt spark inquiry. Let this story be a mirror, not of history alone, but of the way philosophy asks us to engage with the world. So I leave you with these questions. How do you feel after watching this story? Which perspective spoke to you most clearly? Where in your own life do you need to pause, question, and check what is true before acting? Carry these questions forward. Share the wondering, not the certainty. Widen your circle of understanding. Test your impressions like a guardian at the door. Live as if the search itself is the lesson.